guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a fantastic day. As you can tell by the title, today's video is going to be all about my favorite eyeshadow palettes, but my favorite high-end palettes. Now I know here on my channel I like to keep it super affordable, and we're always talking about my favorite drugstore products or drugstore reviews and the best products at the drugstore, and I'm really trying to keep it affordable for you guys. But obviously there are high-end products out there as well, and I do want to share with you guys my favorite high-end products that are worth the splurge in my opinion, because let's face it, high-end products are super expensive, and I feel like if you're gonna go that route and buy a high-end product, you should do your research before and see which ones are actually worth the price. So I have a bunch of my favorite eyeshadow palettes here in front of me, and these are the ones that I honestly think are worth the high-end price and are worth paying that much money for makeup. So obviously there are amazing drugstore palettes as well that I love, and honestly I would compare to these, but if I had to choose like my top high-end palettes that I would spend that money on, these would be the ones. So if you want to know which high-end palettes I think are not only worth the hype but also worth the high-end price, just keep on watching. Alright, so let's get started here. I'm going to start off with some Too Faced palettes. Now Too Faced obviously is known for their really cute pretty palettes. So first I want to talk about the chocolate bar palette and the peach palette. So the chocolate bar palette, if you just like your neutrals and that's all you kind of really wear, this is a nice one to go for. It has some really nice shades, and you do get some color in here that you can play around with if you want to venture out that day. But if you just stick to your neutrals, this might be something you're interested in. I'm trying to hold this so that the light isn't blinding you guys. Okay, a lot of neutral shades. You get a nice mix of shimmers and mattes in here, and I do think this is a palette for an everyday type look. If you're not really into a lot of color, or you just want something that's gonna last you a long time and you can just use every day, this might be something you like. Is it the like most pigmented creamy formula? No, and that's why I'm saying it's probably best for everyday users, just because you know you will get very like a very subtle neutral eye out of it. Do I use this palette as much now? No, because I have so many others that I'm going to share with you guys, and I'm going to show you guys my favorite Too Faced palette. But as I said, this is kind of one if you want a neutrals palette, and that's kind of all you're going to need, if that makes sense. And then I'm just going to talk quickly about the peach palette. It's not my favorite formula wise, but if you like these warm tone shades, you might like this. Again, this is more of an everyday palette. I wouldn't really consider this like a colorful palette, if that makes sense. For me, this is more of a neutrals palette. So these two, like if you're just looking for everyday palettes, these are something I would consider, just because they are a nice formula. They're kind of fun with the packaging and the fragrance. This one smells like the sour peaches, and this one smells like hot chocolate, to be honest. So that's nice about them, but just keep that in mind. So now my favorite Too Faced palette. Now this one I would definitely suggest buying over the other two, but again it kind of depends on your color preference. I think this one right here is hands down the best for formula, color payoff, longevity, all of that. This is the Gingerbread Spice palette. They came out with this one holiday last year, and oh my gosh, is this amazing. Here is the palette. You can see mine is pretty beaten up. I've used it quite a lot, and I just absolutely love this palette because you get your neutral shades and your warm tone shades. So if you're a warm tone lover, I would definitely go for this palette. But what I love about it is you get these beautiful hot pink right here, you get this beautiful orange shade, and then this beautiful like duochrome pink. It's like a pink with gold also in it. Here, I'll also swatch this one for you guys because you have to see this shade. As you can see, it kind of looks gold, but as I turn my hand, it's more of that pink. I love this shade because you can kind of pair it with like a neutral eye. It just gives you that twist. I just think this palette like is more worth it in my opinion, because you get some beautiful shimmers like this purple, this bright like sun yellow gold, some really nice darker shades right here. You get some nice warm tone shades that you can use for a neutral look, some nice highlighting shades. Like I just think this is a really great palette. This shade right here in Fidgy Pudding is one of my favorites because it's like a taupey mauve, so you can pair this with a neutral look and it will just give you that kick of purple to your look. So it's kind of different. It really depends on you. For me, I'd rather spend more money on a more unique palette, something that's different from anything else rather than a neutrals palette. So this really hits it for me. I've taken this traveling with me. I just think it kind of has everything I need right in here. It's super warm tone, but then I can still play with those pops of colors if I want, and I love including pops of colors in my look. So I just love and adore this palette. Definitely one of the best from Too Faced. Let's go back into neutrals, since I know a lot of you guys are probably looking for those neutral palettes. So the Urban Decay Naked palette, it's not actually one of the ones I think is worth the hype, if I have to say. I used to love this palette when I first got it. Obviously Half Baked was dearly loved by me, but looking at it now, there's so many better options on the market, and I just don't think this is really worth it. You just get a lot of shimmers in here and only two mattes and a sheen, and I just don't love working with this. I like palettes that have more mattes than just this, and I don't think you can really create that many looks. Obviously there's a lot of shades, but when you apply them on the eye, they just kind of mush together, and it's just not my favorite. I have it and I keep it because it's like a cult favorite, and it's just one of those like iconic items here on YouTube, but in my opinion, I don't think it's really worth it. What I do think is worth it, if you want your, you know, all-around basics palette that's going to give you the perfect amount of neutrals that you can really create a lot of looks with, is the Lorac Pro Palette. Now obviously this is very talked about too, but I just think this one gives you a way better shade range than the Naked palette. So I'm just going to compare them here. As you can see, a lot of similar shimmers on this bottom row of the Lorac. Like you can see that gold's pretty similar, the pink shade right here, this navy, the purple, like a lot of similarities, right? But then in the Lorac, you also get this top row of mattes. So you're really gonna have an easy time creating looks here because you can use your matte shades. You get a black, you get a white, so that just makes it very versatile, and then some beautiful taupey shades, and then you also get all your shimmers. So this is gonna be a neutral lover's dream of just everything you need all in one palette. I love how sleek this is. This is amazing to travel with, I will say. Just a really easy palette to take on the go. You get a nice mirror in here. I just think all around it's an amazing palette. Great quality eyeshadows. The mattes blend out like a dream. They're not chalky at all. These shimmers are really nice as well. Like, I'll swatch this gold one right here. Look at that. Just super pigmented, super creamy. I just love this, and I think Lorac is definitely a good place to go if you're looking for a worth it high-end palette. Next, I'm going to talk about these Huda Beauty Obsessions palettes. Now, I think if you're wanting to get a high-end palette, but maybe you don't want to spend as much as like a full-size palette, these Huda ones are actually really nice because they're reasonably priced. You get a nice little mirror in here, and you get 9 shades. Now, out of the 9 shades, you can actually do a lot with them. Now, these are super pigmented, as you can see right there, and even the mattes, they're pretty creamy and everything like that. The only thing I'll say about this is they don't last the longest on the eyes. I do see that by the end of the day they are kind of faded out, but if you're looking for a nice compact high-end palette that is not as expensive as some of these other options, I would recommend these Huda ones because I think you get a nice color range in here, and you can really pinpoint what kind of color scheme you're looking for, since she has a lot of these in different color range. Next, let's talk about Anastasia Beverly Hills. They make my absolute favorite high-end palettes. If I had to choose like one brand that I would recommend to you guys for high-end palettes, I would go to Anastasia. They just have the best shade range, the best color pigmentation, everything like that. I just love their palettes so much, and I just think they're a little bit more unique than some of the other ones if you want that, right? If you're not looking for a super neutrals palette. But even if you are looking for a neutrals palette, I'll show you guys my most used one from them. This is the Soft Glam palette. I think this one is one of their best. Obviously, you guys can see how much I love this palette. All the shades are absolutely destroyed. This is the perfect palette if you like neutral warm tones. This is definitely the palette for you. I love this. You get such a great range of mattes in here. You know, you get these beautiful burnt shades. You get a black and a dark brown, which is essential for me, and then you get a nice light shade right here that you can use for highlighting, and then a great range of shimmers. You get some light light ones as well as some darker ones. I just think this palette all around is amazing, and if I had to pick like one neutrals palette that I'd use for the rest of my life, this would be it, just because it has everything I need, and I'm really obsessed with those warm tone shades. I think the color payoff's amazing, the mattes blend out beautifully, and the shimmers are really nice as well. So I just love this palette. Now if you still like your neutrals but maybe you want something a little bit more out there, I'd go with the Modern Renaissance. This is a classic and I just love it. I love that you still get some neutrals in here, like a dark brown and some crease shades, so you can still create those neutral looks. But if you want to deepen up your look, get a little more smoky, you can go into these darker shades. Again, great pigment, great color payoff, everything like that is just amazing about these. And all around, Anastasia is really consistent with their color payoff and quality of eyeshadows in my opinion. This palette, I just really love the tones in here, and they're definitely some of my favorite shades. Like I love cranberries and warm tone shades, so that's that. And these ones also go really well together, so I'd highly recommend these two. So next are some like different palettes from them. Now these ones I'd only recommend to you if you like the color schemes in here. If you're not going to use these shades, don't get them. It's not worth it. You can easily get like a dupe or something from the drugstore if you want to use some of these shades. For example, the Anastasia Subculture. If you like these type of vampy kind of grungy shades, get it if you're going to use it. If not, and you might maybe just want to play around with some of these, I would get the Bad Habit Retro Love. This palette's just a few bucks, and as you can see, the shade resemblance is basically the same. If you want to see like a side-by-side comparison of these, I did one like a year ago on my channel. I'll link it down below, and I really went into how these compare, what's the differences, what's the similarities. So as I said, these palettes are worth it in my opinion if you're going to use the shades. Next I have the Norvina palette. If you're into these pinky warm tone shades, I would recommend it. The shimmers in here are beautiful. I used this shade Soul and this shade Celestial today on my eyes to create this kind of purple look, and I did really like how it turned out. Again, amazing shades in here, same quality, everything like that. It just depends. If you like these kind of shades, totally worth it. And I just love the purple packaging on this one too. Now this palette from Anastasia, I think they absolutely hit it out of the park with this one. This is the Jackie Aina X Anastasia palette. First of all, the packaging on this is amazing. So a lot of color in here. You get still some neutrals to play with. This beautiful green, a nice taupe, this gorgeous gold shade, and then some beautiful pinks and purples in here that you can also use. So if you're looking for a palette that kind of has the whole range of colors, but you don't want to go all out with a huge like full-on color palette, this might be something you like if you're into these warm tones and super intense shimmers. Like, let me just show you guys. I'll swatch this shade Trust Issues. It's a really icy shade. Look at that. Like, look at how that just radiates, and it's so pigmented, and that's like the light shade. But if I swatch like Sam, like super metallic pigmented shades. I think for formula, this one just hits it out of the ballpark, and also for the shades, I just love these kind of shades. So if you're into this, I'd highly recommend this one. Alright, so obviously I love my Anastasia palettes, and it kind of depends on what shades you like, and you can kind of pick from there. If you want more an in-depth video on which Anastasia palette is perfect for you, let me know and I can do like a focused video on these. So the next one I'm going to talk about is definitely dependent on your preference of eyeshadows. Now, as I said, I love my warm tone shades and I love my colorful warm tone shades. So if you like that, and if you're like me, the Anastasia Norvina collection volume 1 palette is your perfect match. This is what, first of all, I love the packaging of this. I just think it's so gorgeous. And then when you open up the palette, you get a great big mirror, really nice quality mirror actually, and then these amazing shades. As you can see, this is like my dream palette. It has everything I need in here. You even get some neutrals and stuff, but you get just these neon bright colors. I think this palette, if you're into color, definitely worth it. And she also has volume 2 and 3, so you can kind of take a look at the shades. The formula on this is impeccable. I would say if you took the Anastasia regular shadows and just amped up the pigment like a million times. These are so pigmented, so vibrant. You apply them on and it's just like boom, color. The mattes are just so pigmented, but they blend out really nicely, super creamy, and the shimmers are just amazing. Like, look at that gold there. Look at that. Let's take this pink shade right here. so metallic and beautiful, and the mattes are the exact same. So if you're into color of vibrant colors, definitely go with the Anastasia ones if you want amazing color payoff and everything like that. And I think these ones are actually really worth the price. You get 25 shades in here, so a lot more than a regular palette. I do think this is kind of a splurge item, but it's definitely worth it in my opinion. Alright guys, so that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and hopefully this helped you out in kind of choosing what palette you might want to go out and spend the money on if you want a high-end palette. These are the ones I would highly recommend. If you guys want to see like a bigger video with high-end products like in general of all categories of makeup that I think are worth the splurge, let me know down below in the comments and I'll be sure to do that for you guys, or any other high-end videos. I normally don't do them on my channel, but in case you guys want to see them. So anyways, I hope you're having a fantastic day or night whenever you're watching this. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to turn on my post notification bell so you get notified every single time I upload a new video. And yeah guys, that's it for this one. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!